right, so I am here with Joe, who's from Worcester, who came out to Workers Strike Back. Joe, why did you decide to come out today?
Well, I've pretty much been going from crappy job to crappy job most of my life, like a lot of the folks in the working class seem to have been. I've seen how the knock-on effects of the pandemic and the deliberate policy decisions of the people in charge have crushed great coworkers of mine and members of my family, and I just can't stand it anymore, so I just need to get on the ground and do something.
Now, you were laid off, correct?
That is correct. I was laid off right before Labor Day last year in Worcester. I won't say where exactly, but you can check on the news and you can probably figure it out.
So do you think we deserve a $25 minimum wage?
I think that we need to change the slogan slightly and to survive at 25, thrive at 35. If I had to just give my 2 cents.
Awesome.
25.
Awesome. Well, you came out all the way from Worcester, so Joe, thank you so much for coming out.
My pleasure. Thank you.
All right, I'm here at Boston Workers Strike Back, and I'm here with Terrence. Terrence, why did you decide to come out today?
Yeah, so I've been sort of connected to Shama Sawan on social media for a while, and really liked what she's done with Seattle City Council there, and it's a bummer that she's not running again for City Council, but I think her involvement in sort of launching a more nationwide movement for workers, I think, is really exciting. I took a look at the website, saw the great demands, $25 an hour minimum wage, universal health care, really affordable housing, which is a pet project of mine that I'm working on in my local community of Gloucester. So I saw these and I just wanted to come out and, kind of hear more. We heard from some great, union workers about efforts within the community. I still had more questions, so I was able to pull aside one of the organizers and learn more about kind of the structure. Like, I guess it's meant to be as a campaign of socialist alternative, which was sort of new information to me, but good to know. That's kind of how I got out here and what I learned.
Now, you ran as a third party or independent candidate, right? Do you think that we need a new party?
Absolutely, and that was one of the questions I actually asked with one of the organizers. Is that's one of the demands is like let's build a third party, and I didn't get the name of the person who I was talking to, but she basically said like this is a more sort of high level goal for them. They don't really see this as like something that can immediately happen. It takes a lot of work, I think she sort of enumerated that this is going to be a longer term project as they see it, but I think that's really exciting. I think that's something we absolutely need. I've had conversations with the Green Rainbow Party here that is kind of making an effort to kind of reignite the spark. And actually there was a Green Rainbow Party guy who was here who made some comments. I meant to talk to him. Maybe I'll catch him later. But it was good to see sort of the solidarity for like the third party independent movement here. And hopefully, we can get something off the ground. I think it's really important.
That was something I was surprised by. At first, I thought like everybody that came out were here just for like the workers' issues. But then to hear that, no, a lot of these individuals want a third party, I think that was a good thing to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I was a little surprised to see the Green Rainbow Party here, but I think hopefully there's opportunity for collaboration between these third-party movements to build something real and something tangible that can challenge the establishment here. As you know, Massachusetts is basically a one-party state. It's not really remotely a two-party state. So any sort of movement away from the duopoly is great.
Awesome, Terrence. Thanks so much for coming out.
Of course. Thanks for chatting with me.
Awesome. I'm here at Workers Strike Back at the Boston launch. I'm here with Chuck from the RWU. Chuck, why did you decide to come out today?
Well, I've been involved with RWU for about 3 years now. Joined on just before the pandemic, which was really something. And that, of course, happening, I think, has been a huge engine to energize the whole union movement across the country, across crafts and labor. We Zoom once a month, coast to coast and Canada as well. And gentleman Tyler Dolan reached out to me last week. And Nick here, he's on the freight side, I'm on the passenger side. So we agreed, we talked with our guy and came out. I've been involved with Labor Notes. I was at the Chicago conference in 22. And like I said in my speech, it was an incredible moment the energy was just palpable. I've been in the railroad industry a quarter century now and just been pretty stagnant, just kind of punch in, punch out, and nothing seemed to get better. If anything, things have been getting worse. Certainly worse for the folks in freight. It's no picnic in the passenger side either. So, but this was really great to see. I come from a union family. My father was a union steward for the MTA. He was a public school teacher for 40 years out in Palmer, Mass. He'll be 83 next week. He's still going. And I got a lot of his union spirit, you know, when I went off to school. You know, I would like to say I was raised right, even going to business school, you know. You know, a lot of this is societal. We've just been slagging unions for years. And I saw, like I said, at school, I saw firsthand, and I argued with people about it, about how things were done, that it was wrong. And, you know, we were kind of like, some of us were like lone wolves. You go back 35 years or so. And to see this now is extraordinary. Honestly, it really is just incredible.
What do you think about the situation that's happened in East Palestine, Ohio?
Well, the chickens have come home to roost. This has been going on since the 90s, where these big class ones, which is what we call them, like Norfolk Southern, CSX, you've had investors come in and kind of co-opt. They gain blocks of shares to control, so then they dictate how this is run. There was a gentleman who's since deceased, we don't like, named Hunter Harrison, and a precision schedule railroad. You're going to hear PSR mentioned a lot. It's like run everything with less. Run people into the ground. I mean, on the heels of the derailment in East Palestine, an NS conductor was killed in Cleveland. A week later, they hit a truck at an unprotected crossing. 46 years old, gone. And it can happen anytime. And I mean, I've understood that for years. You got to watch out for yourself. I always tell new employees coming on property, safety begins with you, you know. But the company simply uses lip surface. What happened in East Palestine was avoidable. I think that's what's the most angering fact. And I think the fact that we have the internet now, everyone's got a phone. You can see the next derailment. I mean, NS is just every day. Hey, look, this one went on the ground in 6 states, which is sad because actually that company many years ago wasn't like that. These companies have become just run at the behest of these few people, and they're making billions of dollars in profit. They're making billions of dollars in stock buybacks and not reinvesting into the infrastructure. And furthermore, they're blocking the advancement of passenger service in this country. They won't add capacity, which leads to why we in RW are looking for public ownership of the railroads. It started in October amidst the tentative agreement fight. We were kind of like, I don't know. And then East Palestine just drove it home. You can't trust the fox in the hen house. And it's in the government, it's in the FRA, in the Federal Railroad Administration, in the DOT. Their hands are kind of tied. These people that run the industry are mafia. They're like the five families. They literally are the five families. And they just do it on. Now, Ron Kamikow, who's our General Secretary, he works on Amtrak up in Nevada on the Zephyr, and he lives in Tahoe. It's a mess up there with the weather. And Union Pacific doesn't care. They won't put extra track in, so everything's delayed. He may or may not get a train out tonight, you know, and it's sad. People really want to take trains. We are all sick of driving, but the way our rail network is now, it doesn't work. It's working for a handful of people. It's controlled chaos, and it's got to stop.
Thank you so much for coming out, Chuck.
Thank you for having me, Sabrina. Take care.
All right, guys, I'm here at Workers Strike Back Boston launch. I am here with Nick. He's a part of the Railroad Workers United. Nick, why did you decide to come out today?
Well, Railroad Workers United has the opportunity here to talk to people about our campaigns that we're fighting for, that we've been fighting for since the contract battle, and in some cases for decades now, about rail safety and trying to prevent another disaster like East Palestine. And specifically, we're campaigning these days for public ownership of the railroads. And to place them at the service of the people rather than profits.
What would that mean? Can you explain to people who are not aware, what would it mean for us to have public ownership of the railroads instead of the way it is today?
Well, there's lots of different ideas about what it might mean, from anything from sort of nationalizing the actual physical track and taking over the maintenance and the building of new track, to talking about creating a real national rail system, both for passenger and for freight. So it can mean a lot of different things. I think for us, the main thing is we want public ownership and public control to the point where we're able to deliver. We're able to make operational decisions on all levels with the interests of moving people and freight as safely and efficiently and as quickly as possible. And really, I think part of that would be freeing the potential for passenger rail service in the U.S. and high-speed rail, which is really sort of held back by the fact that most of the track in the United States is actually owned by the freight companies, the major freight companies, and Amtrak has to negotiate in order to run service through their territory and things like that. So that's what it means for us.
Awesome. And how do you feel about this organization so far? I know it's new, but Workers Strike Back, I thought it was a pretty good turnout here. I saw the turnout in Seattle as well. How do you feel about it so far?
Yeah, well, I think I'm also a member of the Independent Socialist Group, and I think it's the U.S. working class is in desperate need of a real movement, and I think we're in a really, really dangerous spot right now where there's a lot of interest in unions, but there's so many obstacles and roadblocks and things holding the union movement back, and part of that is sort of some of the union leaders playing by the rules and sort of accepting what can and can't be done, that we have a real potential to turn people off of the union movement if we're not able to win real victories. So I think Workers Strike Back is an interesting proposal. I think I'll be following it very closely to see how it develops, because I think we need more than anything, not just a movement. I think we need something really organized, really democratic, where there's a membership and there's real democratic process for deciding what we stand for and what to fight for. So whether that comes in the form of Workers Strike Back or some other kind of movement, I think that's the key right now.
Awesome. Nick, thanks so much for coming out.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, guys. So Workers Strike Back launch here in Boston. I think it was a great turnout. The room was pretty full from what I could tell. They do have other actions that are coming up as well. So there are going to be actions the week of March the 25th. I'm going to try to make it out at least for that Saturday on March the 25th. They're also going to be organizing to help with Amazon warehouses as well. I know one of the goals is to organize Amazon warehouses across the country. So that's another thing that they're going to be doing. I think from what I've seen so far, I think this is a great start, and I think we need to support them as much as we can. So other than that, guys, I'll talk to you later.